I'm Sarah with SarahEllaWellness.com, and I grew up with an anxiety disorder, with a panic disorder. And even up until just a few years ago, my anxiety and panic was so bad that there were times where I would actually vomit for days on end. I would end up in the hospital for days, admitted with doctors looking at me like, I have no idea what is wrong with you. I wouldn't ingest one piece of food or drink one drop of water. I would be living strictly off of IV in a hospital, and yet I would still be puking stomach acid, still be puking bile. And then we learn the culprit: anxiety, panic. I had learned to associate these physical symptoms with these dreadful thoughts, and combined, my anxiety took itself away. So today I want to share a tip with you, a way that you can really take back control of that anxiety, of that panic. So here it is. First of all, the best foundation you can have if you are suffering from anxiety or panic is to become aware of what exactly makes you anxious. What kind of things make you panic? Number one. Number two, become aware of what it feels like to be anxious for you personally. What are the early signs of anxiety especially? So for me, racing heart is one of my big ones. Frantic thoughts is another one. Chest tightening. Everybody's might be unique, but recognizing what those early symptoms are helps you, because when you recognize what makes you anxious, when you recognize how you feel when you're anxious, especially early on, it's easier to help yourself when you catch it when it's still a little baby anxiety versus this big gigantic monster. As we know, anxiety and panic snowball. So once you know what makes you anxious, and number two, how you feel when you're anxious and you're able to catch it, what do you do then? What I like to do is right away I put my fingers on my throat and notice my rapid heartbeat. Then I take deep breaths from the pit of my stomach. Now that is big for a lot of people, including myself. A lot of times we just breathe from our chest and we don't notice any different. The way you should actually breathe is deep from your belly. So I put one hand on my belly, one hand on my throat. And with every breath in, my belly gets big. And with every exhale, my stomach goes flat. With every breath in, my stomach goes big. And with every exhale, my stomach goes flat. Should be barely any movement in the chest and mostly all in the stomach. Now holding on to my pulse, what that does is it allows me to really notice that I do have control over those panic, those anxiety symptoms. And now, if we can combine that strong, present, diaphragmatic breathing, which is a fancy word for breathing from your belly, if you can combine that with the powerful tools of self-talk, you got this. That was the key for me. When I used to get anxious, when I used to start puking and end up in the hospital, I noticed that I would be telling myself, holy shit, it's happening again. I can't believe it. It hurts so bad. What's wrong with me? It's going to happen again. I'm going to end up in the hospital. What's going on? What's wrong with me? Something bad's going to happen. Right? Do you think that that's helping me or hurting me? If you're anxious, if you're panicking and you tell yourself, oh my God, I'm so anxious. Oh my, I'm panicking, you're going to panic more. You're going to be more anxious. The goal is to shut down the stimulation, remove yourself from that shitty situation that's making you anxious. Close your eyes if you can. Notice your heartbeat. Breathe deep from your belly and tell yourself what you need to hear. Tell yourself, you're okay. You're okay. This anxiety is going to pass. It's fine. You're okay. With each deep breath from my belly, I feel better. I'm in control. I was anxious, but it's passing. It's passing. Whatever you need to tell yourself, whatever you would tell your 4-year-old self that still lives within, that's what you need to tell yourself during an anxiety attack, during panic, to bring yourself back down, to return yourself to that present. 1, know what makes you anxious. 2, notice how you feel when you're anxious. 3, become aware of your physical symptoms in your body and do that diaphragmatic breathing, that deep breathing from your belly to slow those fight or flight responses down, to slow that anxiety, that stress response down. And then 4, self-talk. Tell yourself what you need to hear, even if it feels like bullshit. Do it, because your subconscious mind is listening. And if you tell yourself it's going to be okay, if you tell yourself those soothing things that you need to hear while you're panicking, you will be soothed. Soothe that negative, anxious thought pattern that makes things worse. Catch it and think new thoughts. Talk to yourself in a new way. I'm Sarah with SarahEllaWellness.com. Subscribe to my channel. I come to you with new videos every Tuesday. And come hang out with me on Facebook. Consciously Designed Living, where people come who are ready to wake up, who are ready to stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. If that sounds like you, come check it out. See you next Tuesday. Bye, guys.